welcome to Hacking Postgres. I'm Ry Walker, founder of Tembo, a managed Postgres company, and today I have Pavlo Golub. Did I say that right, Pavlo?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can fix it from Cybertec as my guest. So, Pavlo, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Hi there.
Hi there. Yeah, so maybe you could start by giving us a quick background, like where you grew up and what were you doing before you started working on Postgres?
Okay, so I was born in Soviet Union, so I'm a little bit old, but yeah, I lived in Ukraine. So and the first time I saw Postgres when I was in my high school, it was like fourth year of high school, and at that time it wasn't very popular. Everybody like we're talking about MySQL, the only database with open source, and yeah, at that time I saw the PostgreSQL. I tried to install it and run it. It was hard for me to do that because at that time the version was like 7.4 something, and at that time there was no installer for Windows, and we were mostly like Windows guys at that times. So yeah, I need to install Linux and then install Postgres, and then I managed to do that, but I wasn't happy about it. Like the whole process is like I feel like cumbersome or something like that.
Yeah.
So I left it for like a couple of years, and then my first job in IT, I was a support guy. So it was directly connected with the Postgres. So I started my IT career with Postgres, and I'm happy that that I had this chance.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't personally remember when I first started using Postgres. I think it could have just been when I started using Ruby on Rails. I don't know, but it was like it's funny. It's like I don't remember when I first used Linux or a lot of things. But yeah, it's great that you have that distinct memory. So tell me, you started in support. You've done, you've built some stuff now on top of it. Tell me about your the body of work you've done on Postgres or with Postgres. I'm curious to know what you've built.
So right now at Cybertec, I'm a consultant. So my position called consultant. They call me consultant, but I prefer to think about myself like as a developer.
Yeah.
I'm not an admin. I'm not a DBA. I'm a developer. So I'm mostly doing developing things for Postgres. I had a couple of small patches to the source, but I don't consider them as major things. So I did some client libraries for Delphi, if somebody still knows what it is. Yeah. And later I switched to C, Go, Python, that kind of stuff. And right now I'm mostly develop with the Go language. And at the moment we have a couple of utilities made in Cybertec, so I'm in charge of them. So one of them is like pgtimetable, which is the scheduler for PostgreSQL, and another is pgwatch, which is a monitoring solution for PostgreSQL.
Yeah. What caught my attention was pgtimetable because I come from a company. My previous company was Apache Airflow. So the idea of doing DAGs, jobs that are chained off of other jobs. There's no other way. Trying to schedule jobs and hope that they finish by the time the next one that's dependent is something that people used to do and they should never ever do anymore. But I'm sure it still happens, right? So certainly, if people are using pgcron, no way to chain them as far as I can see.
So, we had a client, and we have a process like lasting like 14, 15 hours, consisting of many steps, which are dependent in some complicated ways. We used a makefile to split them into the jobs and to specify that this stage must be executed after that, and that worked fine. I mean, it's cool to have like a special utility to run that kind of jobs or chains, whatever.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I think about a lot is how, the Postgres server is doing lots of jobs, right? I don't know how many processes it's dealing with, someone, with better internal knowledges, but I know it's certainly vacuuming, it's certainly processing queries, it's doing a lot of things, right? And then question is, I'm a fan of SRP, single responsibility principle, and programming in general, but I also like monoliths too. Like we all have, conflicting ideas in our heads, and having a queue managed inside the Postgres, you're kind of like straddling, right? Because you have to have a container next to it. So some of the work is happening over there, but some of it is inside of Postgres too. Why not have it all be inside? Is that, what are you thinking about for future versions of pgtimetable? Like, why not just do all the work inside of the running Postgres cluster?
Thank you for the question, because that was like the second thought when we released the pgtimetable. So the idea is that PostgreSQL uses a separate process for everything. If you have a new connection, you need a new process. So if you have a background worker for cron or for another like scheduler, you will need a background worker, a separate process. It's possible. We can create an extensions with Go. It's possible, yes.
Oh yeah.
But right now, I'm not sure what benefits we will have. Like,
it also feels kind of gross, right? To think of throwing it all together. But I have this conversation all the time with my team, like if you have a system that's dependent on the Postgres, like let's say there's an API, right? And the API is only, if the Postgres is only invoked when the API happens, like you could theoretically put all that compute into one bucket and just let the API talk to, I'm thinking like, say, take it's a Rust API. Should you serve that Rust API as a separate container and have the separation of concerns, or should you just create a custom Postgres extension and let the Rust run inside the Postgres cluster? And like there's zero latency to the data in that regard, but it's a little bit of a Franken app at that point. It's a tricky problem.
I will tell you that I want to implement this scheduler as an extension for Postgres. Not because I think that we will have like some benefits, but because this is very interesting task for me as a developer. First of all.
Is pgtimetable supported by any cloud providers right now?
You can run pgtimetable like against any cloud provider. If you want, you can run it in Docker and Kubernetes as a standalone binary, or even you can try to grab the source code and put it into these AWS fancy one-time run and forget. I don't remember how they called it.
Yeah, but it can't be, because it has the sidecar, it probably can't be like a standard extension in RDS, for example, right?
Yeah, it might be. But I think to make this happen, we need to somehow communicate with the AWS and make that happen. It's more like politics, not...
Yeah. Well, I think it's also just like I don't know if any of the other extensions that they offer have a sidecar, requirement, right? So that's one of the things we're thinking about at Tembo is like, let's allow sidecars. If you allow sidecars to extensions in our managed service, yes, it's like, again, it's a lot more dangerous, in the sense that there's more things that can break, but it's also more powerful. And if we had the rule that dangerous things are bad, and you wouldn't have like a combustible engine inside of a car, where like little explosions are happening all the time to power it. So
on the other hand, you can build your own image, right, and somehow to limit the binary in it to forbid do some dangerous things, etc.
Yeah, I joke sometimes and say we're building the dangerous Postgres, just because it's not really. I mean, like, having supporting 150, we support 150 extensions now, so it's like, our support footprint is increased and scarier than if you had 75, but I still say it's worth it to the developer to have the capability. So I'd love to get pgtimetable as a standard option. I want to use it. Like, basically what's funny is, like, I'm building a data warehouse right now for our company, and I started with pgcron, and I have these 4 jobs that all start at the same time, and it's very early, so it's not a problem, but I would love to have them be chained, so and I could, like I said, I could do that fake in it with some spacing things out, but I really feel like I've just stepped back, 20 years into the world of early data processing. So I appreciate what you built, and I want to use it soon. So,
okay, let me know if you're happy with it.
yeah, I will. Yeah, I think it's just it's a good idea, and it could also help developers avoid having to go pick up some other tool, to build to take the next stage of their data processing, which to me is a big win. And we're trying to like make the meme, Postgres for everything, like more. I know you are too, in a sense, because you built the extension, but it's I think there's so much it can do, and it can do a lot more than just writing and reading data, So
one more thing about having the pgtimetable as an external application is that you can use your own binaries inside jobs like PSQL or pgdump or something, like to grab something, to convert something, etc. So we want to make like I want to have a possibility for developer to create their own Docker images with the binaries or tools they only need and pgtimetable. So in this way, it sounds like a Swiss knife, right? So I need a pgtimetable and a couple of utilities for grabbing something to manipulate with files, etc. And then we pack it, and that's all. We don't need to think how we should allow the application to install it or to have it on the system version, etc., etc.
Yeah, it gets basically what you're saying is, it gets even more dangerous quickly, right?
Yes.
Like the base use case is one thing, but then when people start doing some more wild things, like including their own, it could be their own packages, right? Their own,
of course.
Completely custom. Nobody knows what's inside of it. It could be a Bitcoin miner. It could be anything, right? So, what are you working on? Like the next version of it, or is it pretty stable right now and doesn't require a lot?
So, at the moment we are stable. So we are open for ideas and requests, etc. But at the moment we are fine. I believe so. It's like in maintenance mode. So we update versions, packages, etc. Yeah. So no new bugs. I'm happy with it.
Did you build it? Was it sort of a small team there, or did you kind of build it solo?
So the initial idea was by Hans Jugenschönig, our CEO, and yeah, that was my first project in Go. So
Wow.
I, I was trying to learn a new language to see how can I do it, and we are now here. We
Yeah, here we
have a new product, and that's cool, I believe.
What were the biggest challenges would you say you faced while building it? Was it hard to, for example, like understand internals, or was that part easy? Yeah, I'm kind of curious what was toughest.
For me, I would say that the new tools that you need to use, like if you are like familiar with your favorite IDE, and then for Go language you need to switch to something like VS Code or Goland or whatever. This is completely new tool for you, and you have this muscular memory for shortcuts, etc., etc. It's like it's kind of difficult. Like 6 months, I was trying to get used to new tooling, but after that, I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and so when was it that you started working on PG timetable?
Maybe 3 years ago, something like that.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, that's great. So have you guys implemented it many times now for customers, or like how has it been? I know it's not a commercial product, but I assume it should be helping the consulting business, right? If it's yeah, is it?
So it usually goes in a package with something. Usually, if we have like a new client, we are talking about high availability, and we're talking about monitoring, and we're talking about that, and that, and then we say, okay, we have a scheduler if you want it, and usually people want it.
Yeah.
So I don't remember we have like a standalone cell for a PG timetable.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's usually like packaged into something bigger, like, and usually with a high availability and monitoring.
Got it. It's like a sweetener, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, maybe I'll shift into like some more general topics. Like I'd love to know like what are some of the developments in Postgres ecosystem that you're excited about?
So the Postgres itself, the core, I always I'm constantly want to do something for the core, but
yeah, it's like you're racking your brain around it,
not easy,
right?
and yeah, and the process itself is not like user friendly. First of all, you need to communicate through the email lists.
Yeah.
No GitHub, no issues, no pull requests.
Yeah.
And you need to constantly update your patches because the development is very active, and you need to defend your patch against many people in the community because why you did it, what purpose, why you do it that way, not another. So that might take some time for
Who are your favorite people in the Postgres ecosystem? You hate to play favorites, but people I should interview, get to know. Anybody come to mind?
Oh yeah, a lot of them, frankly speaking. Well, I think that the community is the reason number one why I am still doing Postgres things. I was working like for 5 years without knowing nobody from the community, and then in 2011, I was first time on the PG conference in Europe, in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And that changed my mind, absolutely. I saw what the community is and what are the main things, and why are those working that way and not another. So if you want names, so Bruce Momgen, for sure. Magnus Hegender, Ilya Kosmodymiansky, Vic Fearing, Andreas Scherbaum, a lot of them, like Laetitia Avro, a lot of them.
Well, I'll reach out to those people. It's obviously a very big community too. Certainly considering the extent, anyone who's touching it is very big. Yeah, I'm excited too. I'm going I'm going to the PG, the New York City conference here in a couple of months. Yeah, so I'm excited to meet a bunch of people there. And we went to an event in San Jose last spring, which was fun. But all right, so here's another one. If you had a magic wand and you could add any feature to Postgres, what would you change about it, or what would you add?
I don't think that I can change something in a way that it will be a breaking change, but I would like to see if we can implement Postgres using threads, not the processes.
Yeah.
I would like to see if that might be a better solution that we have now.
Yeah. I'm
not sure, but
it's being debated, right?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's a hot topic.
Hot topic, yeah. I did join the mailing list for a short period of time. I'm starting a company too, and it just was too much. I was like, oh my gosh, this is a fire hose, and someday I want to be able to have the time to consume it, but today wasn't that day. But is there anything about Postgres that no one agrees with you about? Like, do you have any contrarian views about any part of it that you can think of?
Yeah, probably my views about the Windows, because I was a Windows guy and I'm still a Windows guy.
Okay.
And I'm always saying that we need to support Windows as well as we support Linux.
Yeah.
So that means installers for Windows and extensions and tools, etc., etc. And people usually say no, Linux is fine, and that's enough. Enough is enough.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's fun. Like, I actually, I'm interested in a lot of different areas of programming. I was looking at, say Unity, game development, and it's C#, and I'm like, ugh, and it seems like very Windows centric, and I'm like, ugh, because I'm a Mac user and whatever. It would go for me to be like Mac, Linux, Windows, in terms of my priority. But I'm like, certainly not C#, right? But anyway, there's the religious wars will never end there, I guess, in terms of platforms.
Well, the bad thing about our approach right now that I think that we don't have enough good GUI programs for PostgreSQL.
Yeah.
So every time we are using PSQL to show something, to demo, and I think that for newbies, it would be much easier to follow a demonstration if you use some fancy GUI application.
Well, it was great chatting. Where can listeners find you online? Are you on social media anywhere?
Yeah, I'm on every kind of social media, frankly speaking. So GitHub, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, Mastodon.
Great. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I will, like I said, someday soon I'm going to try pgtimetable.
Sure.
And I'll give you some feedback and maybe some ideas in the GitHub, and
Sure.
We'll see you there, I suppose.
Sure. Thank you.
Great chatting with you. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.